What if I told you the world you're seeing right now isn't real? Not in a grand, Matrix sort of way. No, something much more personal. What if it's just your mind, slowly, quietly beginning to lie to you? This is the question that lurks at the fractured heart of the Magnus Archive's most insidious entity, the Spiral. Hello everyone, and welcome. Today, we're descending into the maddening, twisting corridors of the fear of lies, deception, and the chilling realization that you can no longer trust your own senses. Among the 14 powers that haunt the world of the Magnus Archives, the Spiral stands apart. It isn't a fear of the dark, or of heights, or of being hunted. It is the fear that your own mind, the very seat of your consciousness, has become the monster. It's the creeping dread that what you know to be true is fundamentally and increasingly wrong. The Spiral's domain is deliberate, maddening deception. It takes your innate need for a consistent, logical reality and substitutes it with a cascade of subtle, accumulating distortions. Think of it as gaslighting, elevated to a cosmic, metaphysical scale. An encounter with the Spiral doesn't start with a monster jumping out of a closet. It begins with something small, something you might dismiss. A book you were sure you left on the table is now back on the shelf. A door you just walked through is suddenly bricked up. A conversation you vividly remember having, the other person swears never took place. These are the first threads it pulls, testing the fabric of your sanity. As these impossibilities mount, they escalate from minor annoyances to full-blown existential terror. The world itself begins to warp. The Spiral's most potent physical manifestation is impossible geometry. Corridors that twist back on themselves, defying physics. Staircases that ascend forever without getting any higher. Doors that open into places they couldn't possibly lead, or worse, open into nothing at all. This non-Euclidean architecture is a terrifyingly brilliant metaphor. The structure of the world around you begins to break down, perfectly mirroring the internal collapse of your own logic and reason. Your mind is losing its foundation, and so the very ground you walk on becomes unreliable. At the center of this maelstrom of deceit stands the Spiral's most infamous avatar, the Distortion. First is the manic, terrifying Michael, and later is the chillingly calm Helen. The Distortion is the gatekeeper. It is intrinsically tied to a single, impossible door, a door that is its body and its prison. Step through it, and you are no longer in our world. You are in the Spiral's domain, the great twisting, a non-place made of those endless, confusing hallways. The Distortion is a walking paradox. Its very existence is proof that you are not going crazy. Reality itself is broken. And yet, its presence confirms your deepest fear, that your perception can no longer be trusted. What makes this Spiral so profoundly unsettling is the nuance of the fear it represents. It's not just a fear of going insane in a general sense. It's the specific terror of losing trust in yourself. Other fears in the Magnus Archives are external. The vest makes you feel small in the face of an immense universe. The buried crushes you with physical pressure. But the Spiral attacks your epistemology, your fundamental way of knowing anything at all. The horror isn't just that there's a monster in the room, it's that you can't be sure if the monster is real, if the room is real, or if you are real. This taps into deeply human psychological anxieties, mirroring the experience of conditions like derealization and paranoia, where the world feels like a film set and your own thoughts feel alien. The true genius of the Spiral lies in its use of the almost true. It operates in the uncanny valley of reality. Its lies are most effective when they are small, incremental deviations from the norm. It's the path that looked right, but leads you astray. It's the face in the crowd that is almost familiar, but isn't. A bold-faced lie is easy to dismiss, but a half-truth, a warped memory, a subtle inconsistency that forces you to turn inward. It compels you to question your own memory, your own judgment, your own sanity. You become your own inquisitor, your own torturer doing the spiral's work for it. This is a uniquely human fear. It preys on the very things that make us human, our reliance on language, logic patterns, and the shared experience of a consistent reality. The spiral targets the highest functions of our brain and turns them into instruments of self-destruction. In the grand narrative of the Magnus Archives, the spiral plays a critical and recurring role. It's one of the first powers we see that truly demonstrates the horrifying reach of the entities into our mundane world. The arc involving the distortion, particularly with Michael, is a turning point for the series' protagonist, John. It's the moment the theoretical horror becomes a tangible, personal threat. The statements about impossible buildings are no longer just spooky stories, they are active incursions into the world, with a malevolent intelligence guiding them. Michael, for all his terrifying power, was a victim, twisted and reshaped by the very force he served. When he is replaced, the door remains, the impossible always remain, but the personality changes. The manic, almost playful cruelty of Michael gives way to the cold, sophisticated, and arguably more sinister deceit of Helen. This shows the spiral's terrifying flexibility. It can wear any mask, adopt any persona, so why do we find the spiral so compelling? Why are we drawn to this horrifying concept? Because it's one of the most intellectually stimulating and psychologically resonant fears in the entire TMA pantheon. It's a smart horror. It doesn't rely on jump scares or gore, but on a slow, creeping erosion of certainty. It speaks to a very modern anxiety in an age of misinformation, where objective truth feels increasingly fragile. The spiral is the ultimate manifestation of that fear, the fear that not only is the world lying to you, but the lies are so perfect, so insidious, that you might never find your way back to what's real. It's the chilling whisper that asks, are you sure? Are you really, truly sure? And the most terrifying part is, after an encounter with the spiral, you can never answer yes again. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey down the twisted corridors of the mind. The Magnus Archives offers such a rich world to explore, and the spiral is a perfect example of its depth. What do you find most terrifying about it? Until next time, stay safe, and be wary of doors that shouldn't be there.